I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me today for another card making video. Today is going to be a short instructional video on completing different cards whenever you already have a sketch in mind. A lot of times whenever someone is participating in a sketch challenge, then what it means is that you have to create a card that fits a certain design. So today, the card that I'm going to be making requires for there to be a piece of designer paper on the right hand side that is roughly 2/3 of the card width, and it asks for another layer underneath, and that could be ribbon or it could be foil paper. I'm going to be using foil paper, and it'll have a circle medallion on the front. So what I'd like to do today is to show you guys an easy approach on making sketch challenges. So let's get started. Whenever you want to make a sketch challenge card or just a sketch card and you know a certain design, then it's nice to know what colors you'd like to work with and choose your papers. You want to get something that's going to work together, and you want something that is going to be pleasing to the eye of the person receiving the card. Sometimes that means that you carry through a certain design, and that's what I want to have my focal point today, is carrying through a certain design. That design is going to be, for me, a little bit of I'm going to focus on these dots and kind of try to bring the circle design out into the rest of the card to tie it all together. So I'm working with a card base cut at to be finished at 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 inches, and it is scored in the middle, and I've used my bone folder here. And what I'm going to do for this piece of paper is I'm going to create a background to add some interest, but I don't want to compete with this really flashy paper over here, because then I feel that my card would be a bit too garish. So how I'm going to go about that is I'm going to go with tone on tone. I'll use Rich Razzleberry ink and apply that directly to the same color cardstock, and what it's going to do is give me some pattern interest without taking away from the design. It kind of blends into the background a bit. So I will take the images from Paisley's and Posey's stamp set. These are really nice. This could go for any time of the year. I think it's supposed to be more of a harvest, fall, Thanksgiving theme, but they will really work anytime. And I love the look of the design. It appears to be Old English to me. So what I'm going to do is make sure that both ends of the paper that I'm working on are covered in a design. And I'm going to just put those at random and fill in all of the space. And I'm going to be also using another stamp that will fill in on the small spaces. But what I really want to do is get everything covered. And if you can see that the ink, and it will dry up a little bit and lighten up just a little bit. But whenever I use tone on tone, then it allows me to have the look of a design, and you're kind of making your own designer paper in a way. But what it does is it allows me to feature something that's not going to steal the show. And the way I feel this card is going to come out and focus is going to be on this paper here. Sometimes going random with a stamp is easier said than done. I didn't get it all the way there. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to another stamp. This is another image from the Paisleys and Posies, and it's just a small leaf. And using this small leaf is going to allow me to get into those little spaces, and I can turn it around and go in different directions. I could make it look like it's part of the flower motif if I chose to. I just want all of the space to be filled in as best as it can. You could do first generation stamping to make it dark. You could do second generation, so I'll show you second generation now. That's the first generation, and the second generation would be using the ink that's left on the stamp. So you could see it definitely lends a lighter look. Okay, I believe this is filled in enough to where what my paper is going to carry over. So you can see the two tones there very clearly. I'll bring it up to show you. All right. Now, let me get this closed. Rich Razzleberry is a very deep ink, and if I get it on myself, it won't come off for days. All right. So this is copper foil paper, and this is from the Petals and Paisleys Specialty Designer Series paper stack, and it's very vanilla, and it's a nice thick paper, and it has dots that are foil, that are the same foil as this copper. So what I've done is I have cut this piece to 3 inches, and I cut this piece here 1/8 of an inch smaller. And to line them up perfectly, I'm going to bring them together to where they have the same width on the bottom. And just kind of bring it together. This is one trick that I use. And I apologize if you're not able to see it very well at that angle. I will tilt it for you. All right. So the height of this panel, because of the requirements of the challenge, is the entire 5.5 inches. So this panel is now ready to adhere to the card, and I think I'll use snail adhesive. The foil is a really nice heavy cardstock, and so it will definitely stay put if I give it a strong enough adhesive. So I want to bring this over far enough to where I'm just getting a little bit of color on the right hand side. Let's see if that looks straight. That looks straight to me, because I want this to be the color, the focal color for Rich Razzleberry, but I want it to echo and come and bring the eye all the way across. I know that I talk a lot about moving the eye around, but that's how our brain tends to see things. So I'm trying to go with a brain-pleasing design. To save time, I have pre-cut the layering circles framelets, and I've just got 2 of those here. I'm going to make the medallion, and one is cut slightly smaller than the other, and it will go here on the card. This is an extremely simple card design, and it could lend itself for any occasion. This is something that will work really good for masculine cards. I've had a lot of people tell me that they have trouble with masculine cards coming up with ideas, and I believe how you could adapt this would be to simply take any kind of a sentiment and just work with some colors that are neutral. All right, I'm getting this in the middle of the stamp set, and it's really good, easy way whenever you have photopolymer stamps. It's nice and easy to be able to line up those sentiments. That's one thing I really like about photopolymer stamps, because I cannot stamp anything straight, it seems like. All right. Now I want to adhere this unit medallion, and I'm going to use more snail adhesive. Today it's all about the snail. It'll go in the center. Okay. And for some little bit of interest to carry that copper out into some more of the card, This is the copper thread from Stampin' Up, and it's really nice thin thread, but it's not too much bulk to where it's going to weigh your card down, but it does definitely bring your eye around. I'm going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of this, and that will allow for this to be raised up here. And what I'm going to do to adhere the thread in place is I've already cut a length off here. I'm going to start it off on one of the dimensionals so that this piece of thread is anchored. And I can just bring it around. It depends on how much I want it to hang off. I want this to be, I want to be able to see it, but I don't want it to hang off of the edge of the card. So I'm going to work the thread around kind of in different pattern. I don't want to have it be a triangle. I would like this to be more or less random. Let me get it around here. I want to keep it in a, now I can see that I've got a gap going over here, so I'm going to bring it back here to this side and turn my direction to where I'm running out of space. So I've got to fill those gaps in quickly. Okay, so I want to bring this over here and fill this gap. All right, that works. I'll bring it back in here to anchor it. And then one more spot that I want to try to get is over here. Bring it back in to anchor it. And then I have just one little amount left, and that will allow me to fill in this gap right over here. There we have it. Okay, now I believe that I'm still going to be able to get lots of enough space to adhere that's left on the adhesive part, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put a fresh dimensional, just one is all I think it'll need, in the middle that will attach to the paper and really hold it in place. So this is the medallion, and the challenge specified that I have to place it down towards the bottom. So I'm just lining this up. I want to make sure that everything is in an area where nothing, this little bit's going to hang off a little bit of thread there, but I can work with that. That's doable. And this is finished. This was a very quick card. Something that is an afterthought is to put a piece of the vanilla. It doesn't have to be the one that's has the foil, but a piece of plain vanilla, and bring some more of the images that are from this stamp set in. You could bring a couple of flowers and leaves. There's a larger leaf. There's different designs. I really like these medallions here. But there are tiny dots in the petals of these leaves, and that carries the polka dots through. The polka dots are a circle, and that correlates with the medallion. And then the copper thread is in a circular motion. So everything together is working. I made another example for you to see. If you were to put in a pattern to use the same stamp and make it into a pattern, what it would look like. So we would have, let's pretend like this is our foil paper. We would have a bit more organization on the side. So you can definitely, when you do stamp these tone-on tones to make your own background, you can go with an organized or with something random. And I like them both. For this particular, I like the random because the polka dots are very organized, and so I don't want to have the competition of the polka dots go with the uniformity of the design here. And this completes our project today. I want to thank you for joining me for another card making tutorial. I invite you to jump over to my website at jennystampsup.com. That is my blog site, and there is the location where I release one new card project every single day. And 3 of those cards per week will have a card making video. And there will always be a product list on my website with brief instructions. While there, you can subscribe to my blog and you'll receive the email directly into your email box of what the blog post is every day. So thanks again for joining me, and I invite you to leave any comments in this video down at the bottom. Please like the video and subscribe if you want to get updates on the new projects that I post on my channel. See you in the next video.